First video that I posted on this channel just hit 100,000 views. Right now, it's just a little over a year old. That first video was a journey of mine. It was a video that had a lot of challenges and setbacks, and there were a lot of things that I learned from it. But I wanted to give you guys a breakdown of my dunk journey as a whole. I want to be real with you guys about how it started, where it's been, and how it's going. My journey of dunking starts probably back when I was in middle school. I think I touched the net for the first time when I was in like 8th grade. Like I was so behind. I was like really small and not super athletic, but that changed when I got to high school. So when I was a freshman in high school, the first couple of weeks I went to the gym and I tried jumping and I touched the rim for the first time, which was crazy to me because I had never been able to do that. And I didn't really lift or work out or anything like that, but I was just able to get up there and touch the rim, and that made me feel pretty cool, and it made the idea of dunking a little more realistic. So when I was a sophomore in high school, I grew a lot, actually. I don't want to say from like freshman to sophomore year. I was probably like 5'9", 5'10", and I grew to like 6 foot. I was training with my school's high school team, and I put on a lot of weight and muscle and just built a lot of strength because we were playing like 3 times a week. I was playing with guys that are a lot more athletic, so I think that helped push me a lot and made me a lot more athletic. I could actually grab the rim at that point just with like one hand, and I felt a lot more confident going up to the rim. So fast forward a little bit, I think that the biggest gain of a vertical was probably during college. When I was a freshman in college, I made my school's club team. All the guys on the team were juniors and seniors, and I was a scrawny little freshman who didn't have experience playing high school varsity. I had to get in the weight room and I had to get used to just being pushed around by these guys that were like 21, 22, while I was like 19. Competition was crazy for me, but it allowed me to get a lot stronger and get more like athletic. So being in the weight room, I was honestly lifting weights probably like 3-4 times a week on top of practice. So I got in really good condition and shape, and I noticed my athleticism started to take off just from being in that environment. So going into my sophomore year, I'm not able to dunk, but after realizing my freshman year that I was getting so much more athletic, I think that I realized that it was achievable and I would be able to do it. So that summer I had started brainstorming, like wanting to be able to dunk, and I saw this routine about doing it, and it made me super inspired, and I believe that I could do it too. So I decided that I was going to commit myself to this program for 12 weeks, and I was just going to lock in, do the best that I could with it, see if that made any improvements. And I've said this before in previous videos, but one of the biggest things that I struggled with was being consistent. It was so difficult for me to stay motivated and actually get in the gym and do it. But something about having this like structure and having it planned out ahead of time just made it so much easier, and I was able to stick with it. And I think that I missed like some days here and there, like had to make adjustments, but it was the first time that I actually ever stayed consistent with a routine. And while at the end of it, I wasn't able to dunk, I had gotten so much stronger and so much more athletic. And even though I wasn't throwing down at the time, it was just incredible to see how much I had changed, and I just felt so much better about myself as an athlete. So the whole dunking thing that I did, the 12-week program was between September and November, and then winter break was December to January. I remember in February, I had an intramural game, and I had like no energy kind of consistently, but just this one night, I just decided to try and dunk. And I just remember I just threw down a one-handed dunk out of nowhere. And I was like, whoa, I had no idea that I could do that, but I did. And then I remember that whole spring, like March and April, I'd go to the park with my friends and stuff, and I started throwing down and I was dunking, and I was finally starting to get consistent with it, and it was such a cool feeling. But it's funny now because as the summer rolled along, I wasn't working out as much and lifting as consistently, and I noticed that my progress started to fade. I think I was super excited that I was able to dunk in the first place, and I think that I thought because I didn't have to work as hard for it anymore, and I lost pretty much a good bit of my progress. And then I think later in that summer, I wasn't even able to at all. This year, I haven't really been lifting or focusing on dunking really. I've kind of just been focusing on getting better at basketball and, just other aspects of my life. But it's been such an interesting journey. I think that overall, the one thing that I can say is if you're able to try and be as consistent as possible, if you're able to schedule things ahead of time and figure that out, it's super important. Another thing is, if you can, incorporate speed and plyometrics and stretching. I think those are some things that you don't really think about as much, but are super helpful. I think working your fast twitch muscle fibers are super important. I have a couple videos on that I've done before that helped me a lot. Overall, it's been a exciting journey. It's been fun, and I'm fortunate for the experiences that I've had, and I'm hoping that I can get back into it soon. But I appreciate you guys supporting me on my journey for dunking, and I hope that I'm getting back into it soon. But we'll see how it goes from there. But thank you guys for tuning in. See you in the next one.